So here we are with the Hyundai Tucson 2006 GLS. You're probably wondering what's happening here. Okay, so I was trying to fix an oil leak on the crankshaft, and I ended up doing something wrong with the timing and ended up bending a valve, or what I thought that's what happened. You know, I did a compression test, did a leak down test, and everything pointed to an intake valve problem. Now, obviously, to be absolutely sure, you've got to take the head off. Now, I've got the Hayes manual here, and I've also got the Hyundai official shop repair manual. And they both say, yeah, you can pull the head off with the engine in the car. So that's what I tried. And if you're in the situation, I would recommend that you just pull the whole engine out and do this work outside the engine, because I found this a very, very tough job, because the manuals are just not clear on all the little pitfalls that you got to deal with to take out the head. I'll give you a big example. There's a bolt. This component here is called the water housing assembly. You know, it connects to the water pump and all that, and the coolant system. This has to be removed from the side of the engine, and the manual does say that. But then there's this tube here that goes to the water pump, and it is actually attached to the side of the cylinder head by a bolt. Here's the cylinder head, and it's this bolt. Oops. Where is it? I swore it was right around here. Oh yeah, this bolt right here. This bolt right here. So I was struggling. I was like, this head is not coming out of here. What the hell is going on? And it's this bolt. And then, not to mention all the other little things. You got to make sure you got to disconnect the exhaust, you know, under the car. You've got to disconnect. You got to remove. I mean, you got to remove all this stuff. I tried to take like a shortcut and sort of move things aside, but nah, man, you got to take out the air box. You got to move aside this thing. This is on the back of the surge tank, or you know, the top intake manifold. You got to take all that out of the, you got to have a lot of room to take this head out of there. And then all these cables are like connected by zip ties and things like that to the back of the engine. You gotta like remove all that and cut all that. You gotta move the housing assembly off to the side because the bolts get caught up in here. So, man, if I had to do this all over again, I think I would just get my cherry picker and just lift the engine out of here and just do it outside the engine. Well, anyway, so the issue was, as I suspected, it's a bad intake valve. This is cylinder 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. Okay, so if you do what's called a leak test with water, I tested all the cylinders, so 3 and 5 are good. So I'm gonna put some water here in the intake, and then you're gonna see it leak out right there. You see that? You See that? It's this valve right here. This one got bent, so it's not seating properly. You could tell, just you tell by looking at it. I think all the, you know, this one's obviously okay because it's not leaking. I gotta check. I'm gonna have to take off the exhaust manifold and then do a water test on the other side. I think these are okay too. I think they're sealing. Well, actually, I don't know. They seem a little. I mean, when I did a leak down test, the air was coming out of the intake, so it's probably just an intake issue. But you know, since I've done all this work, I'm gonna make. I gotta test 100%. So you know, so I'm gonna have to change whatever valves are, you know, this one and whatever other valves are bent on it. Oh, and real important. Another thing with the manual. The manual says, yeah, take off the exhaust manifold. Take off there's even an illustration. Yeah, there's a couple of bolts back here. The problem is when the rear head is in the engine, maybe it's different with the front head. You know, this is a V6 engine, this is the rear head. You cannot get this manifold off with the head on. There's no room. You could go under the car, you could go over it. You know, maybe you could maybe you can reach the top 3 bolts, but there's like 3 bolts on the top, 3 bolts on you cannot reach these bottom bolts from under the car. I mean, there's just, you know, you got the transmission thing there. There's no room. So you got to pull this thing. You got to pull this head with the manifold. And this is actually on this Tucson. This is a manifold / catalytic converter, as you can see, with the O2 sensor there. So, all right. So now I got to do my work on this. And I don't know, I may make a video, you know, maybe of me fixing it or me putting it back together in case it'll help anyone. But again, man, the biggest advice I can give you, if you want to do this on this engine, and I think it's the Delta GB6A engine, something like that, I think you're better off just taking off, you know, disconnecting everything, you know, obviously marking everything, and then just lift that thing out of there. Take out the engine mounts. The only thing I don't know what to do about the transmission. You know, the crankshaft in the back goes into the transmission. I don't know if this engine, you know, you can just lift it out of there, or you have to like take something apart down there. I don't know. I couldn't find anything in the manual about that, and I couldn't find any videos. You know, there are videos of people working on this engine, but it's always conveniently outside of the car. There's not a single video of anyone working in the engine. Yeah, there was one guy who had a similar problem. He had a bent valve, and that's as far as he got. He said he wasn't going to work on it anymore. All right, so stay tuned. You know, maybe I'll make a video of putting all this stuff together again.